The simple philosophy that gets me leaner each year: plant-based diet, small calorie deficit, plus daily steps. Just those three things: plant-based diet, small calorie deficit, daily steps. That's it. You know what, guys? My journey has been so slow. I don't have some remarkable sort of before and after photos for 12 months or 18 months like everyone is now doing on Ozempic. They're having these really fast transformations. It makes for really sexy marketing. I don't have that stuff, but you know what? I'm kind of grateful at the slow speed at which my physique has developed over these 10 years, because obviously I lost the bulk of my weight 10 years ago after going plant-based, but since then I just got a little bit leaner, maybe built a little bit more muscle mass with each passing year. I say passing year, it's not linear, but just gradually, progressively over time. Those two vectors, the muscle building, the fat loss, have kind of very slowly and progressively happened. And I'm grateful for the. It sounds nuts, doesn't it? Because knowing what I now know today, the journey would be much faster, definitely. But I'm almost grateful I did it the slow and steady way, because it kept me away from all the extreme stuff. And that was my big prerequisite when starting this whole plant-based thing 10 years ago, is I came into this thinking, no, I really need to find something sustainable now. If you're not familiar with my story, I came from that like gym bro world where, if you're not familiar, there's the two processes: bulking and cutting. So bulking is where you build the muscle, but often what happens is you're putting on a lot of body fat as well, because you're intentionally being in that calorie surplus to help you build the muscle, and then you chisel it down through the cutting process. Now, often bodybuilder, gym bro style cutting tends to be very extreme, and that's certainly how I did it, and it was never really sustainable. I'd lose 10 pounds here or there, but I'd never go much further than that, because it couldn't actually last, because I was white knuckling the hunger, the cravings, and it was all about discipline and working hard, and that stuff just never lasts when you're doing a really extreme restrictive diet on a calorie or a macronutrient sense. I was doing a lot of carb cutting back then. I felt terrible with it, eating like 1,500 calories a day. For someone of my stats, that is bordering on starvation, to be honest, to do that day after day after day. No wonder I could only stick with it for like 3 or 4 weeks before I fell off hard and was binging and rebounding right up again, right up the scale again. And so, yeah, I'm glad, actually. I'm grateful that my big prerequisite coming into this plant-based thing is not like, let's take our time with this, and it's kept me away from the extreme stuff. And I think that's how, year after year, after the big weight loss, I'm still getting really decent results, because I've kind of brainwashed myself with this whole slow and steady philosophy. And that's it. And it's just plant-based diet, small calorie deficit, daily steps. And there's a lot of hacks and diet rules. And every year I see new weight loss trends come and go. Now it's all about, the peptides, the semaglutides. It's about the Ozempic, the Manjaros. Retta now is the really popular one in bodybuilding spaces. And I see things come and go. Carnivore diet a couple of years ago, keto diet before that. And, I just never get too hyped up about any of this stuff, because I just know I've got my safe bet. I know I've got my unfancy, quite frankly, boring method to doing things. But it really works for me, and it works for me because it actually lasts, because it isn't based on some extreme fundamental foundation. It is something that I can happily do each and every day, and it's just plant-based diet. I say again, small calorie deficit and daily steps. That's it. I don't get caught up with any of the magic pills or silver bullets. I just do that stuff every single day, and I'm not perfect with it, and that might lead to little gains throughout the year of 2 or 3 pounds before I have warning signs, and I'm like, okay, you've been really brilliant for 10 years for the most part here, Ryan, but you're losing a bit of control again. Let's rein this in. Like when I was in Japan last year, I traveled so well, but I got to that Japan trip and there's a few too many fluffy pancakes, and maybe my step count had dropped slightly, and there's a few back-to-back days there of maybe eating out a little bit more than I needed to. And so I have these little moments where I look at a photo of myself throughout the year and I can observe, I've lost just a little bit of leanness here. Let's rein this in now. Let's get back to it. But generally speaking, this is how I've been able to maintain within a small couple of pound range for, the best part of a decade now. And like I say, it's boring. It's not fancy. It's just those three things. And you could even boil it down to, never mind plant-based diet, you could even, to make it more concise, just say small calorie deficit plus the daily steps. You could boil it down to just that very concisely, but for me, where the plant-based thing ties into this so nicely is it's by far and away the easiest and most sustainable way I've found to actually be in that calorie deficit, given the fiber content, the low calorie density, the bulky, volume rich nature of so many plant foods. It's just made it so much easier to stay every day in that calorie deficit. And all the different diets out there, the weight loss diets, all they do is give you another solution for being in a calorie deficit. Essentially, you have to choose what the most appropriate one is for you. Now, of course, I have the ethical spin on things as well, and that being a big reason for doing what I do today as well, obviously. But, just examining it from a weight loss perspective, for me, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like eating these whole, low-calorie density, for the most part, fiber-rich, therefore very filling plant-based foods and being able to stay in that deficit far, far more easily. And it doesn't mean there aren't moments where I battle with hunger or cravings. I do have those moments, but just generally, very broadly speaking, this is by far and away the easiest way I've found to do things. And I really do want to stress the importance of that calorie deficit being small and that being such a big part of my MO. And if I ever want to drop some pounds right now, I run a 250 to 350 calorie deficit, which is really minor compared to a lot of other coaches in my space. And the reason why this is such a deal breaker for me is because it actually lasts. That's my approach. I don't like the extreme stuff. I don't like a 500, 600 calorie deficit. I know some coaches who put their female clients on 500 calorie deficits, and that's just too much off maintenance calories. I don't approve. You can't stick with that stuff for long, and we know the binge, the rebound, it eventually comes. There's only so long you can suppress that hunger and just white knuckle it for. And so for me, I've found 250 to 350 calories to really be the sweet spot between a calorie deficit that allows a speed of weight loss that still incentivizes you and still feels motivating, but it's not so slow. It's not so slow that you're like, is it really working? Is it really happening? But it's not so fast that the cause of it is a really aggressive diet with extreme restrictions that you can't actually sustain, and you're just staving off hunger all the time, fighting fatigue, low energy, because we know where that goes. So for me, that's been the sweet spot. The daily steps come in because it's a great way to burn calories without spiking your appetite. Unlike the things that are popular right now, like the fitness classes, it was CrossFit a couple of years ago. Again, like with the food rather, exercise trends come and go as well. Like it was CrossFit, wasn't it? And then fitness classes right now feel really big. High Rocks is huge. It became huge last year. It's like, again, these are all just different methods to burn calories. But for me, the daily steps are so brilliant because I'm a European man. I live in Europe, and it's so easy to get steps in if you live in a city or a town. And so, number one, they're just naturally part of my lifestyle to have a really high step count. The second advantage is that they don't make me ravenous. And basically everything else, including lifting weights, which I'm really passionate about as well. But the tennis, the martial arts that I used to do lots of, I still play tennis quite often to this day, but relying on those forms of movement as a fat loss strategy, it's so tricky because they skyrocket your appetite so much, they deplete the glycogen stores so much that you can be ravenous after them. And so, yeah, you can still be in a calorie deficit doing lots of exercise, but I actually find it harder, which is ironic because everyone says, well, surely you want to burn more calories, right? Weight loss is all about eating less and moving more. Only up to a certain point, I've found. Only up to a certain point. I don't think that's always true. I don't think always doing more exercise is beneficial if your appetite is going up the other way to compensate for it. So for me, the best way to control my appetite and thus stay in that aforementioned calorie deficit is just to get the daily steps in, and then I do my 3 strength sessions per week, and I chill out with all the other stuff. There's no pressure to do extra bits of cardio. I do those things. I sit on the recumbent bike at the gym every now and again for 20 minutes when I want to do those things. I play a bit of tennis when I want to do those things, but they're not like mandatory staples in my fat loss plan. I don't have to do those things. Does that make sense? And then daily steps, plant-based diet, small calorie deficit, just keep plugging away. And that is the formula that's worked so nicely for me over these years. And like I say, I'm not perfect with it. I make mistakes, but the one commitment I have is I get back on track. I get back on track from the next meal or the next day if I'm on a trip. And I always come back to center. I always come back to my default setting. Not perfectly, but very, very consistently. And that really is what's changed my life. And it's, as I say, it's unfancy, it's unsexy, it's boring. There's no quick fixes, magic bullets. I'm not on here making my content's all the same. And like, I could look at that with a critical lens, but I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud that my stance hardly changes. I'm so proud that like every year, this is what everyone on Instagram does. Everyone in my space anyway on Instagram, every year they've got a new hack or a new secret that they're sharing with their audience. Well, I'm doing this, guys. And it's so funny because like every 12 months they make another claim about, oh, I've just started doing this and it's totally changing my life. It's like, what do you mean it's changing your life? You've said that like about the last 6 things you've tried, so which I'm in my best shape ever because of this thing. But hold on, you claim that every 6 months, so which one was it? We just don't then trust all the stuff you've done before that you said was some amazing breakthrough or epiphany. Like, I'm actually proud of the history of this channel that I've just said the same stuff for like 10 years, even though it's really unfancy and boring and probably really predictable for you guys. But predictable because it works, predictable because it's controlled, predictable because I think it stood the test of time. And I've been coaching now for 7 years. So really, I've started to work out, okay, this is what works and this is what doesn't, broadly speaking. There are exceptions, but broadly speaking. And so, yeah, this is it. This is my philosophy, just a general overview here. If you want to work with me one-on-one inside Slim and Sustain, get help with all of this stuff, massive personal accountability, guidance, personalization with the calories, the portions, building a meal plan to your food preferences, etc., you can apply below to work with me. But yeah, just wanted to give this a quick run through. This is what's changed my life, and it's been so slow. Like I say, I've had such a slow transformation, but in a strange way, I'm so grateful for it.